Having an insatiable hunger for every food around me has made it quite difficult for me to lose weight. That is until I realized that if I just avoided these 3 foods, my appetite would automatically fix itself. The worst food you can eat by far, number 1, is high-fat foods. Now look, I have to preface this. High-fat foods are not unhealthy. They're actually quite healthy for you. And now the FDA is changing the recommendations for even different fat sources, like saturated fats are now considered healthy, where a bunch of people used to think that red meat is bad for you and eggs are bad for you and butter is bad for you. So once again, fat isn't unhealthy. You want to keep a decent amount of fat in your diet, but what I'm going to cover here is the high-fat foods that are very palatable. So when I was at my fattest, I was having a bag of nuts every single day because people told me that nuts were healthy, and I was sneakily creeping in 1,000 extra calories into my diet without even realizing it. Like, how long does it really take to eat a bag of nuts? What, 10 minutes? You're watching some YouTube, snacking on it? It goes by so fast, and you really don't realize how much food you just crammed into your stomach. So foods you should try to avoid is nuts, any type of seeds, overconsumption of things like cheese. Once again, these aren't bad in any way, but specifically nuts and seeds that a lot of people snack on should really be avoided, at least when you're trying to lose weight. Number 2 is any caloric drink. So if you wanted to gain as much weight as possible, you could mix up nuts in a smoothie, add some oil, and oh my goodness, you can get your daily dose of calories in a drink that's like this big. But if you are drinking any type of fruit juice or sodas or smoothies, you're doing this at a micro level. You'd be surprised how many calories you can put on by simply having orange juice throughout the day or drinking milk throughout the day and soda throughout the day. Now, some of these are of course worse than others, but when I'm dieting, I refuse to have any type of calorie that is not a solid food. And for the most part, it's actually healthier to eat solid foods compared to any type of smoothies, any type of drinks. Like if you're having a fruit smoothie, it's not as healthy as eating the fruits because you're breaking down the fiber, which then doesn't give as much positive effects to your gut. You know, sometimes when you're buying fruit juices, they have extra sugar, maybe the nutrients have degraded a bit, so there's really no point to be drinking your calories unless you just want it as a treat. Now, the third food you must avoid is sugar. This is kind of self-explanatory. We all know that sugar isn't the greatest for us, right? But specifically the combination of sugar plus fat is one that we should really try to avoid. And not for the fact that it's super crazy high in calories, which it kind of is, but for the fact that it gives you a huge dopamine spike. It just tastes so goddamn good and it's so freaking addictive. If I look to my favorite foods, it's always high sugar, high fat foods, and these are the foods that I always overeat on. If I ever binge eat, these are the foods that I binge on. It's typically something like chips, like ice cream. So if you can start reducing the amount of sugar in your diet, not only will your appetite reduce because you're not spiking your insulin as much, which then leads to like a rebound effect where you actually get more hungry over time, but you'll also better regulate your dopamine signaling, not spiking that up and down either, which will keep you more motivated at baseline. And also, if you're not eating sugar, most other healthy food just tastes better. Like if you've had sugar throughout the entire day, if you've been eating junk food, if you try a piece of fruit, it's not gonna taste as sweet. Where in contrast, if you haven't been eating sugar for the past week and you have a piece of fruit, it tastes much better and it tastes much sweeter. So for that reason, avoiding sugar has helped me tremendously. And if you want to 10x your weight loss, press the first link in the description, join our free school group. I'm gonna make it paid at 100 members, so if you join now, you get it free for life. If I gave you anything of value, consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.